Welcome to my beginner's guide to ore. Ore is one of the resources in this game. Here at any point in time you can check your wallet and see how much ore do you have at any point in time. Uh, this is the wallet. I've shown it in other videos, but an excellent way to check all your resources. So you may be thinking, okay, ore, what do you need ore for? Now, at the start of the game, if you are in the beginner to mid part of the game, the amount of ore that you can spend is limited. But as you get more and more high level followers, you will have more options to spend your ore. And from the last part of the mid to the late game, you will need tons and tons of ore. So, for example, you want to hone items to mythical level and you want to get these tier 4 relics by exchanging relics from one type to another, 1500 ore each. You want to craft items with Toragon, Gemka, or Soul Chaser. If you want to craft a mythical item of a specific set, 3000 ore. If you want to upgrade a rare piece of equipment, so let's say, for example, I want to upgrade an ancient dragon. Well, yeah, one of my Mirror of the Forgottens rarity. You check another one that you want to sacrifice, 1000 ore. Do you want to expand your inventory space for your gear or for your minions? You need to spend ore. This depends on the level. The more inventory space you increase, the more ore you have to spend. Here, for example, for the minions, I only need 1200, but for my equipment, I need 2300. No, I didn't want to exit. Okay, let's continue with Mutiny. Do you want to craft loot tickets? You have to spend ore. With Grungli, do you want to craft one random glyph? 1000 ore. Do you want to generate one specific glyph? And this one is only a level 50, so I cannot show you, but it's 1500 ore. He can also craft some um, shards for ore, but I don't recommend to do that unless you have a lot of ore and you don't have any other way to spend it. For Dark Hunter, do you want to craft runes or scrolls? It will depend on the rarity, but this one is 850, this one is 525, this one is 850, 995. So all of them require ore. And finally, do you want to send Resh to find a very, very useless gift that takes 12 hours to obtain? Yeah, 1500 ore. As you can see, I don't recommend you use Resh for this. Again, unless your ore vault is overflowing and you have no other way to spend it. Okay? But yeah, I find it completely useless. Resh is great for the passive buff chance, but not for the gifts. Anyway, as you can see, you need to spend ore for a lot of things. But one important thing to keep in mind is that spending ore is related to other resources, specifically follower crystals, because most of them for Eveline, for North Elm, for Grungli, spending ore is connected to spending their types of crystals. So if you don't have many crystals, you cannot spend ore with them. And with your crafters, spending ore is related to the amount of ether you have. So if you don't have ether, you cannot spend a lot of ore with them. Now, the key thing to keep in mind here is that you can have an unlimited amount of follower crystals. You obviously won't, because follower crystals are hard to obtain. So usually as soon as you get them, you spend them. But you can store a lot of crystals, and you can also store an unlimited amount of ether. Again, ether is not easy to obtain, but there is a low limit. However, with ore, there is a limit. So you need to know how you are going to spend your ore beforehand so it doesn't overflow. Because, as I said, in the mid to late game, it's very, very precious. So you don't want to be capped at ore at any point in time. The maximum is 10,300. When you start, the maximum will only be 300. And as you upgrade Ori, she will increase the ore capacity. And at level 50, which is the maximum level, it will be increased by 10,000. That's the reason why the maximum is 10,300. Now, here's my recommendation. Always know in advance how you are going to spend your ore depending on the um, crystals you have for your followers and the ether you have for crafting. So, for example, right now, what am I going to spend my ore next? I want to to hone some pieces of equipment. So I'm transforming relics into blood fan relics. I need 24 to fully hone one item. Now, you don't have to do this. You can spend in 4x4. I just prefer to get 24 and fully hone a single item, but you don't have to do this, obviously. So I'm gonna take one flame tree relic, one dreamhold relic, and transform into one blood fang relic. And this will cost 1500 ore. So I usually do this in chunks of 4x4. So the next time I get 6,000 ore, this is what I'm going to spend. And then the next 6,000 ore, I will do the same. And then if I can get 3 more of Evelyn's crystals, I will do it again until I get 24 Blood Farm relics. If you don't have follower crystals to spare and you don't have ether to spare, the best way to spend your ore is by crafting loot tickets. Now, you will get a ton of skirmish loot tickets, and you may think skirmish loot tickets are useless. They are not. And I will talk about that in detail later in this video. Okay? But if you don't have enough follower crystals and you don't have enough ether, best way to spend your ore, put Mutiny to work. Okay? The time she takes to craft decreases as her rarity increases. So at level 1, I believe she takes 8 hours, if I'm not mistaken. But every time you increase the rarity, she will take shorter and shorter. The cost will be higher, but also the chance to craft double tickets at once. And at maximum level, as you can see, she only takes 1 hour. So this is the best way to spend your ore if you don't have better ways to spend it. And yeah, alternatively, you can craft some shards with Grungli. I don't recommend to do this. It's better to farm story mode for those resources, and you can send Resh. I have sent Resh in the past, and once he brought me a glyph. Once. I sent him out, I don't know how many times back in the day when I didn't have uh, enough crystals or ether. So yeah, not recommended. Most of the time he brings trash, and 12 hours, are you kidding me? But whatever. So the next part of the video is, okay, this is how you can spend your ore. How can you obtain ore? So, number one is Adhacus. As you level him up, he will generate more and more ore passively. You don't have to do anything for this, just upgrade his levels and he will generate ore. Unfortunately, the amount that he generates, here is his level 50, this is maximum level, and he only generates 59 per hour, which is not that much. But it's passive. This is completely free. So yeah, upgrade him as soon as you can. I'm gonna collect all of the resources. I'm gonna also collect the food from Bree and the spell page spell dust from Shayon. So collect all of them. And yeah, 64 ore. Great. That was 1 hour and 5 minutes or whatever. So that is the first way. The second best way to obtain ore is opening chests. Chests have a chance to give ore. Now, I've already made videos talking about chests, but this is very important. The highest amount of resources you can obtain in a chest are found in the highest level. So this is why I only recommend to open level 100 chests, if you can. Now, one interesting thing about chests is that, as you can see, all the ones I have here to be opened are diamond, which is the highest rarity, but I'm gonna collect the gold with Elira. Okay. So, if you go to skirmishes, these are the chances, these are the chances to obtain each type of chest. So in skirmishes, 37% for wooden, 29% for iron, 19% for gold, 10% for ruby, and 5% for diamond. Okay, and if we go to dungeons, in a dungeon you cannot obtain a wooden chest. The lowest rarity is iron, but it's 40% for iron, 30% for gold, 20% for ruby, and 10% for diamond. Now, the interesting thing about this is that lower rarity chests, wooden and iron, have higher chances to contain ore. And the reason why is that they have lower chances to contain other things. So, in the case of wooden chests, they can only have food or the 5 different types of shards. So, assuming the chances are equal, which I don't think they are, but let's pretend that they are, they have 1 chance in 7 to obtain ore. The quantity will not be very high, but if you open 200 wooden chests, you're gonna get lots of ore. While if you open a diamond chest, because it has a really big loot table, the chances for it to drop ore is lower. And this is the reason why I said before, crafting skirmish tickets is not useless. I like to use my skirmish tickets during Gong's Sushi Surprise Adventure, because in that adventure you get a ton of food that you want to get rid of. So during that adventure, I do 4, maybe 5 runs, which completely fills my food. And then I go here to the skirmish tab. I select my XP farming character, which is my necromancer. This is her XP loadout. And I spend hundreds of skirmish tickets. And I get a lot of ore from those wooden and iron chests that, as you can see, I mean, this is 37 plus 29 is 66%. So you will get a lot of these chests that require very low food to open, and I will burn hundreds of tickets here and get thousands of ore. The next best way to, which is number 3, to farm ore is by running story mode. I made a video about story mode farming, but long story short, I have 8 hero slots. The first 7 are one for each class, so I have a mercenary, an assassin, a berserker, a necromancer, a paladin, a shaman, and a warlock. And my 8th slot is for a test character. I create it, I run story mode, I delete the character, I create a new one. Rinse and repeat. So please watch my story mode farming video. Now I'm gonna show you. This is the Puzzle Quest 3 Story Rewards guide from the Throne of Odin. Please join the Discord. They have a great community with a lot of excellent guides, and this is one of them. And as you can see, if you do one full run of story mode, you will get, after the 15 chapters, 2,600 ore, which may not sound like a lot. However, you also get 5,785 food, and with food, you open more chests. And when you open more chests, you get more ore. So doing full runs of story mode in the long run does yield a lot of ore. And also you get a lot of other resources. Of course, you get shards, you get runes, you get scrolls, relics, and pieces of gear. So this is definitely worth farming for ore. The next way to obtain ore, I'm gonna go back to my main character, is in the events shop. Now, I've made so far 4 videos about events. I have a beginner's guide, an advanced guide. I have a spell rush guide. Not, I'm checking if they have, not here. I haven't checked. Freezing gems. Yeah, spell rush right here. I have a third video where I explain spell rush. I have a fourth video where I talk about what you can buy in the shop every day of the week. And in the next boss rush, I will make a fifth video about events, explaining how essences work. So events are very important. As you can see, I'm gonna make 5 videos about it, but in this video is just go to the rewards shop and you can purchase 150 ore in exchange for 50 iron marks. So this is a very good way to obtain lots and lots of ore, and you get marks when you defeat enemies. This is the chances, and the amount changes depending on the difficulty. This is level 120, which is the highest available difficulty. And at this difficulty, you have, every time you kill one enemy, a 13% chance that that enemy will drop between 16 and 18 iron marks. And as I said, you go to the shop and you can purchase 150 ore for 50 iron marks. Next is the honor shop. The honor shop is found in the versus or PvP tab in the game. Here at the bottom left, this is the honor shop, where you can spend the honor you get after winning in PvP fights. And here you can buy 100 ore in exchange for 50 honor badges. Now, in this shop, my recommendation is to only purchase the armor glyph. You can purchase one weekly armor glyph, which is the best thing, as I said, in my opinion, to purchase here. So only purchase ore here if you're really in a pinch, if you really need it. In my opinion, this is just an emergency purchase, not something you should spend your honor badges. It's better to spend them on armor glyphs, and also sometimes in the Kingdom Bazaar, sometimes you can spend honor to buy follower crystals or other stuff. That is not the case today, but sometimes here, okay, yeah, you could buy spell shards. I'm not VIP, so I cannot make this purchase, and I wouldn't recommend it either. But sometimes you can spend your honor badges on some stuff here. So yeah, only spend them on ore if you really need it. Otherwise, not recommended. Next in the line is the adventure Rune Hunters. I just made a video about this adventure, and in here you can purchase 300 ore per run in exchange for 50 gems. This is quite expensive, so I do not recommend it if you are a beginner or if you are in the from the start to the mid portion of the game. This is more a late game thing when you can farm lots of gems. So otherwise, don't spend your gems here. Obviously, if the adventure is running like right now, get the free ore that you get with the free energy, but this is another option. And finally, sometimes in the shop, well, every day you have the option to buy here the resources tab. No, where is it? Yeah, here in the followers and crafting tab, you can buy the followers bundle, so you can spend a total of 500 gems in exchange for 1000 food and 500 ore. Again, not recommended. This is very expensive, but I've done it in the past when I was desperate and I really needed ore to buy something. So I just want you to know that this option exists, even when I don't recommend it. And finally, you will have some offers. Always check the daily offers. And today, the offer is 3 North Elm um, crystals, 500 ore, and 500 food in exchange for 500 crystals. So one um, North Elm's crystal, excuse me, in exchange for 500 gems. One of his crystals costs 300 gems. So here you're getting worth 900 gems just for the crystals. Okay, and then you're getting as a bonus 500 ore and 500 food. So for me, that I have a lot of gems in the bank, this is worth purchasing. So I'm gonna go for it. Excellent. And you also get the current festival currency on top of that. But yeah, always check the daily offers. From time to time, you will get something good here. And that is my video about ore. If you found it helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.